guys, what's up? It's Eli, and I've got some of my favorite, not all by any stretch of the imagination, but some of my favorite chokes, specifically from turtle position. So in turtle position here, he can be really strong in his defense. He can be blocking the wedges to his neck. He can be blocking me from getting here and taking his back. And these are all things I want to try to accomplish because I'm in a dominant position for the most part. So one of the ways that we can look to use this to our advantage, and of course, you know, if we're throwing strikes and everything, that's a different story. Right now, we're just talking about grappling perspective. And I want to look from here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to cut through and get a chin strap on this side. So the little snuff box bit in my arm right there is going to go right in front of his trachea. I'm going to hug here by his jawline. And the first one I want to look for is I'm going to go direct, and I want to get my chest toward the base of his shoulders. I'm going to get here so that his head is going kind of into my diaphragm, and then I'm going to cup in my second hand this way here, and I'm going to drive forward, and I can get up on the balls of my toes here and squeeze, and I'm cutting back in like this the whole time. So it's this nasty kind of 10-finger guillotine that can be very sharp and very powerful. Now, if I get here and I don't feel like I'm going to be able to get that second hand through because maybe he's blocking with this arm here, then I want to cup to the back of his bicep like this. I want to pull back and drag to open the space. Once I get that space open, I'm going to shoot that arm all the way through under his armpit. So I'm going in by his neck, under his armpit on this side, the back of my hand against the back of his lat and shoulder here, and then I'm going to shoot this arm through. My hand goes to the bend of my arm, it goes up here on his lat, and I'm going to look to tuck my nose underneath, back step, and roll this direction. Once we roll out like this here, I'm going to squeeze. I'm going to bring my other leg over for assistance to squeeze here and cut in deep for that arm triangle or anaconda choke like that. So we're talking about how I can work into the different wedges of his body when he's in this turtle position, whether it's wedges by his neck or by his armpits or by his hips. So one that looks similar to the anaconda choke because it's in the arm triangle family, but it operates in a different kind of setup. Instead of going in by the neck and out by the armpit, I'm going to go in by the armpit over here and out by the neck on this side. Now, before I go to lock up my full-on arm triangle position, I'm going to actually cup the two hands together. I like to use the S grip on this, put my forearm on the back of his head here, crank up under his armpit to flip him over on his side, move back around in front of him, and shoot my arm in nice and deep the way I did with the anaconda. But now my bicep is going in front of his neck. I want to drive this elbow down to the floor and put my hand in the bend of my elbow, squeeze, drive my hips forward, and it should be a really tight choke right there whenever I come here and sprawl my hips forward into him to finish that arm triangle there, or the Darce choke. So when we were talking about the anaconda choke, we were talking about grabbing by the chin and grabbing by the tricep and pulling him forward like that. Now, sometimes whenever I shoot through like that, I'm not getting as deep as I need to get to go straight to the anaconda choke. So what I can do instead to funnel up the neck and the arm together is go palm to palm, keep my forearm against his tricep, and then wedge his arm and his neck together nice and tight that way. Now, if I feel like I can get my arm deeper, maybe I can go back to that anaconda, or I can leave my arm right here, take this bottom hand, switch it over and grab my wrist, step my left leg back way back here by his hips and his butt, and then insert my knee right here. Once I do that, I'm right over the back, squeeze, and that gets a nice arm in guillotine choke like that here. So from another angle, that one here. What's happening on this one, I'm pinching his bicep and his neck together like this. I'm going to keep my hand here by his lat, and I'm going to grab the hand here. I want to step my left foot way back here, insert my knee by his stomach. Step over, bite like this, and squeeze this way here with his arm still inside for the arm and guillotine. We talked about if I can enter my arm in by the neck and out by the armpit, I can look to set up the anaconda choke or possibly the arm and guillotine. We talked about if I enter my arm in by the armpit and out by the neck, I can go for the Darce choke. But what if I get here and I shoot my arm in, I can't get it quite as deep for the anaconda. This one goes in by his lat or his armpit, and it can't get quite as deep as I need it for the Darce. But what I can do is I can connect underneath like this right here, like a guillotine grip reinforced here like this. And as I do that, like this by his neck, I want to drive up far. I step over his head this way to block his head with my leg. And then as I go to sit down, I'm going to throw my other leg over his back this way and squeeze this way here. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling up and through his neck. There's all the pressure of my legs pushing down on his leg and his head and his body while I'm pulling up through his neck and his arm, making a very tight, nasty choke called the Peruvian necktie. We're gonna switch around the angle a little bit. Most of these kind of either come from straight on one side or the other. They either enter by the neck or down by the armpit. This one's a little unique though, because this one is like a Bulldog headlock. A Bulldog headlock can actually become a choke. And this is a variation of an arm-in Bulldog headlock. So what's happening here is that Dustin is in this position. And usually if I want to get a seatbelt on Dustin from here, I'm going to go like this and under his armpit over here, over by his neck. Now, this can get me rolled sometimes by the guy whenever he wants to do like a Peterson roll or something like that. So I got to be careful. If instead I switch my seatbelt control to this way, then from here, instead of just going around his neck, I'm actually going to go under his armpit. So I've got this wrong side seatbelt. What I'm going to look to do next though is I'm going to use the wedge of his leg like a ramp. I'm going to put my shin on top and slide it down, thereby pushing his other arm forward. As I go to do that here, and it pushes his arm forward, look how it funnels his arm and his neck together. And then I'm going to wrap this up nice and tight like a guillotine and then do a sit out. Where here, as I go to sit through like that, it's a choke, it's an arm triangle, it's a little bit of a guillotine, and it's a little bit of a neck crank. So it's just all the horrible things that you can do to somebody from turtle position like in one thing. So let's do it again. So if he goes here, and instead of doing regular side seatbelt, I do wrong side seatbelt like this. I pick up a little bit, drop my shin on top of his thigh, and I drive forward here until I sit out and squeeze. I'm trying to get my pec on the back of his neck, pull here up on the hand, nice and tight, like a guillotine choke would be, but it's a little bit more like a neck crank, arm triangle, guillotine, Bulldog headlock, nasty thing. So anyway, guys, these are some of my favorite chokes from turtle position. Lots of more stuff you can do. You can do triangle chokes with your legs. You can do all kinds of cool little guillotine contraptions and rolls into crucifix and all kinds of cool stuff. But these are just some of my favorite ones, especially for no gi. So anyway, I appreciate you guys watching.